Okay, so the first thing to do is to just pick a logo, write some text, save it as an SVG. And then once you've got it as an SVG, go into your modeling software, mine is Fusion 360. And what you want to do is create a square platform or a square sketch just for the base for the logo to go onto. So mine's going to be a 20mm by 20mm base, or 16mm by 16mm in this case. And then insert your SVG file from your desktop, pick the plane, and then it might be out of sight, and if it is, then just zoom out and drag it over. And then we need to scale it down. So take it out of sketch, extrude the SVG, and then once you've got it extruded, you'll be able to then scale it down roughly to where you need it to be, and then zoom in. Once you've zoomed in, further scale it down. And the mistake I made here was picking just the top face to try and move it. You actually obviously need to pick the body, not the face. So I'll figure it out in a couple of minutes. There we go. Click the body, drag the body over your platform, and then just scale it down just a bit more. Okay. Once we've scaled it down, we need to then create the actual platform itself. So extrude down, not up. If you extrude up in a positive number, then it will go through and cut your logo. So we'll extrude it down, and then we'll move the logo body down, make sure that it intersects properly and it isn't separated. So it might actually not be touching here if we zoom right in, so I'm just going to extrude it down or move it down into that body. And then once that's done, I will extrude the face of the logo up as a positive number, so that we get much more of a depth onto that face. Just so when we're pressing into the leather, we're not actually getting any of that square into it. And then once that's done, you just want to save that file. And then at that point you'll have two bodies to take into Cura, but we want to have one body, so save it as one body and then fire it into Cura. Once it's into Cura, you slice it, and once it's sliced, what that does is just slices it down into the layers that the 3D printer will actually print by. I'm just making sure here there isn't any of a different logo that I had on here left. Once it's sliced, it tells you the time and the amount of 3D filament that it will use. So here I'm just taking the USB-C to USB-A adapter, and I'm going to put the SD card in for the printer and then plop that in to the laptop, and that's how I get the file to my 3D printer. I just click save to removable drive, and then once that's done, I just eject the file. Now on the printer, it's an Ender 3. I'm just going to turn it on, and once that's on, the SD card's already in, so now I need to pick the program that we just loaded into the SD card. So clicking down and then going to print from TF, and then scroll down to the latest one, which is the top one, and click start, and it'll just run all the preset settings that you put in during Cura. If you're in Cura, that's where you put in your settings. Now this got to be glue is hairspray. I just spray that onto the clean bed, and that really helps. Along with a hot bed, allows the print initial layers to adhere to the bed properly rather than skid about with any dirt or anything like that. And this is just a nice little time lapse of the print. Print took 30 minutes, and this is just a time lapse of the base section, and then the actual stand was knocked over by my roommate, so we had to cut it short. The infill pattern is tri-hexagonal. I've just found that's the strongest infill pattern for me, because we're going to be using a G-clamp to press this stamp into the leather. The last thing you want is to crush that 3D print, especially if it's taking you 30 minutes to an hour to maybe a few hours, depending on the print. If you have any questions about 3D printing, then fire them in the comments. I'm not that experienced with it, but I've had the printer for maybe 2 years now. It only cost me 200 quid. And then here's just a quick look at the final print as it came out. And the issue with this printer, I believe, is that we've used the 0.4 nozzle, so the 0.2 nozzle might have been a little bit better. And then here you can see we're just going to sand it down a little bit, and then once that face is sanded, you just fill it with a little bit of glue if there's any holes. If you do have any holes, then just put some glue on the face and then rub your thumb over it, and that will fill any of the holes left by the 3D printer. And then sand it down again, and then fill it again until you've got a nice smooth surface. And then all you do is take a G-clamp, soak your leather a little bit, so I just put a little bit of water over the top of the leather and leave it for 30 seconds to absorb and soften the leather. And then use a G-clamp against your desk, that's just what I do. And then leave it there for about a minute. Then after a minute you can just take it off, give it a little rub, just have a wee look and see how it is. This one actually I hadn't cleaned up the face well enough, so you'll be able to see a little bit of the imperfections on the rough face left by the printer. You can see it's not too bad, but not perfect by any means. I'm just trying to get the light to hit it properly. There we go. But better than nothing, I suppose. If you have any questions, then just pop them in the comments.